Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Thursday morning, December 16th, 2021. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings. However, we will not have a session tomorrow, and you'll see that here at the top of the screen. No session tomorrow on Friday the 17th, but we will regroup, of course, on Monday as usual. We're going to have an abridged training today, and I'm afraid it's probably a waste of your time, but we'll go through it nonetheless. When we decided to build the white label distribution model, we put together a concept where we could do a 50-50 revenue split, no cost for the white label partners to enroll, but I think we made it clear from the beginning, we want active partners. We don't want what we call dabblers. So in the agreement, we said, hey, let's work together and let's enroll at least 8 clients a month, or specifically, I think it says 2 a week, but we interpret it usually as 8 a month. And so we have some white label partners that are just rocking it, and then some that just seem to be totally disengaged. And so as we started to bring their attention started to bring the attention to some of the white label partners, hey, it doesn't seem like that you're doing what you promised to do. It's interesting. We had folks come back and it's almost like they didn't read the agreement. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to do something as a white label partner. So again, I'm preaching to the choir. Obviously, you read the agreement, you know it, but we're just going to go over 3 primary areas and answer any questions that you have today, because we want this to be a successful relationship. And if there's a problem, let's solve it. Let's work together to help small businesses build their financial literacy, to access capital, and to be able to have those lender compliant loan packages. That's our goal. We really serve 2 masters, the client and you. We want you to make a lot of money by helping clients get what they want. But let's go ahead and go through 3 of the key promises in the white label agreement. And again, this is always in writing. Some of you signed up via the terms and conditions, some of you via the Adobe, but it's exactly the same. So in section 8, subsection 10, it talked about licensee operations. So we're obviously not a franchise model. So we're not the franchisor, you're not the franchisee, but the way the agreement reads, we're the licensor and you're the licensee. So in other words, licensee means you, white label partner. So there are a few things that white label partners promise to do. And it amazes me, we have one lady and she's smart and successful. She's enrolled clients and she's like, I'm not going to do that. I don't have time to work with those clients. And it's like, well, you're enrolling. Well, number one, she promised to do that, contracted even, and then she's enrolling clients and then just leaving them out to dry, hang out to dry. And it doesn't make sense. So on this first one, we've offered an option. If the white label partner does not want to be actively engaged in mentoring clients, okay, then let's get a delegate to do that. So that doesn't mean that the white label partner is still not technically responsible, but they could certainly delegate it to someone else, us, or someone else that could do the work. But let's just go through, and this is cut and paste off of the white label agreement. So licensee shall mentor the client through the 4-module curriculum. And I've told you this, when we teach it and we work with clients directly, we do a module a week. So you'll hear us talk about the 4-week curriculum, but technically it doesn't need to take 4 weeks. When you're working with a client, you could accelerate it, or I guess even go slower. So don't be confused if you see 4 modules sometimes versus 4 weeks. It's 4 weeks to us, to you. Maybe you go faster, maybe you go slower. Well, what's expected of the licensee, the white label partner, in module 1? They'll help the enrolled clients log in and start working on their business plan and financing via live plan. We pay for a live plan for every client you submit. I know some of you in other trainings have said, well, if I just submit a client and if they don't really get engaged, then what's the harm? Well, we're incurring expense and effort, and one of which is we pay for a live plan license for every client that enrolls, and it's a lot of money. We just got another invoice from a life plan for another $10,000 we've got to pay. That's my problem, not yours. But we're providing the cloud-based software. What's expected and what the white label partners promises to do is to help enrolled clients log in and start working on it. Once completed, licensee shall have the enrolled clients export it and place it in the shared Dropbox, and we provide the Dropbox. Now, you may have a free Dropbox account, but our Dropbox account is large and expensive. We pay for it. Again, that's my problem, not yours. But just so you know, maybe for equity's sake, we're spending money on every one of these clients that you're bringing on. It's our pleasure to do so, but it's not free to provide the infrastructure. So Live Plan is great. I used Live Plan when I was a professor for my entrepreneur class. I used Live Plan when I worked at the SBA. When I went to Washington, D.C. for being trained as an SBA advisor, that's where I learned about Live Plan. So it's very good. Its one limitation is this, is that when we set up a Live Plan account, it's based upon a unique email address. And when we set that up, it doesn't let us just copy someone else. So we can give you the link that we provided to the client. The client can invite you as a contributor, but just to admit it, it is a bit unfriendly. You would think that we would just set up a Live Plan account for the client and copy you on it. Well, the Live Plan software doesn't make that automated, just so you know. Okay, so that's module 1. Now, in our world, we start module 1 once the refundable deposit is submitted, and then we would move to module 2 7 days later. You can choose how you want to do it. You might give them all the modules up front. You might not ever give them module 2 until they complete module 1. Maybe you do it time-based like we do, once a week. I mean, it's up to you. But moving on to module 2. What white label partners promise to do in module 2 is help enrolled clients complete their personal financial statement and soft credit pull. We've had trainings on how to do the personal financial statement. We've got step-by-step guidance, helping clients create an accurate, and I would say optimized PFS, personal financial statement, is a really big deal. It allows you to really know the client circumstances very well. And if you're an insurance agent, my gosh, man, it puts you in a great position to understand probably where they need some additional asset protection. And then the soft credit pull is a link. And so we provide you that information on the white label page of the IIMFL website. Again, if you don't know how to do any of these things, you got to let us know, but you should have the training and the processes already to run with it. But if you're not confident, obviously let us know. We're here to help. Once the personal financial statement PFS is complete, you'll upload that in the Dropbox. The soft credit pull will automatically notify us. Now, it used to be that we didn't do the first tranche until after module 2. Clients wanted funding faster, so many of you know that we will have most people will already have their first tranche of financing before they get to module 2. But it does give us information to let us know how is their credit looking, might they qualify for some additional funding. Now, we pay, again, a fee for another service for this soft credit pull. We had to go through the site survey and all the background checks to be able to do soft credit pulls. This isn't like getting Credit Karma or something. This is a true soft credit pull from the bureaus. And with that, we have algorithms that helps us understand what types of funding they might qualify. So even though they might have a credit report and just want to send us a credit report, it's much better for them to do the soft credit pull. Didn't cost them anything, didn't commit them to anything. We don't sell that information, it's confidential, but it then fits into their file. So white label partners have agreed to do this for module 1 and this for module 2. If there's any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll keep going. Module 3. Licensee shall help enrolled clients complete a financial needs analysis and write their key person policy. If you're not life insurance licensed, of course you wouldn't do that. That would be illegal. You're supposed to be helping get someone on your team that will help write those policies for them. And that is an opportunity for a referral relationship, right? You can refer your your white label clients, the access to capital clients, to an insurance agent that writes the policies, and chances are then they can refer people to you that need capital. It's great. And that's what we say here. If licensee doesn't have a licensure to write, have someone else, you need to organize. But keep in mind, excuse me, state insurance laws don't allow insurance commissions to be split with people that are not licensed. We're not trying to recruit you to become an agent. Don't interpret that at all. It doesn't matter to me. Just clarifying, there's nothing I can do. Just like an attorney can't share legal fees with someone that's not an attorney. You won't recognize this one revenue stream if you're not licensed. All right, and then we get to module 4. Licensee shall help enroll clients submit the remaining listed items for their loan package in the shared Dropbox and alert licensor once completed. And so some of you do great on this, but some of you do it kind of halfway. And so we see that sometimes the white label partner is not really reviewing the content that's in the Dropbox for accuracy or completeness. And so you're really, if that's your approach, I don't think that you're giving the client the level of service that they deserve. So those are the 4 modules. This isn't anything new. This is just cut and paste out of the white label agreement, which hasn't changed from its beginning. If you're a white label partner, you either agree to this in terms and conditions or via Adobe or both. And I'm just simply trying to clarify, because I know you all are smart and you've read this, but if there's any lack of clarity, just let me know, because we want to do a great job. We want you to be happy. We want you to be profitable and successful. We want to help clients get what they deserve and what they expect. But it does require the white label partner doing what they promised to do. All right, so Zahn asked a good question about the key person policy. Is it required? No. We're just like the business plan. Technically, you could have someone that just says, I'm not going to do a business plan. Zahn, F you, I'm not going to do a business plan. You're going, well, okay. I mean, the more data we have, the more credible you are, the more fundable you are. But Joe or Susie, if you don't want to create a business plan, all right, we'll move forward. So, what we have will impact their fundability and help us establish more credibility. But if the client doesn't want to do something, we're not going to make them do it. We have some clients that come to us and we get down to uploading the documents, which you should be very familiar with. Some of them say, well, I haven't filed taxes in 5 years. Is that going to be a problem? Well, I mean, it's not ideal that you've not filed taxes, that you're operating illegally in that regard. But I mean, if you don't want to file taxes, it's not really my problem. That's your choice. What we'll do is we'll help build a capital raise strategy based upon the data that we have. And if they're missing things, it could impact their access to certain types of capital. But with that being said, most people need greater asset protection. And if you're a licensed insurance agent, man, you're all over this, right? Because once you've done a personal financial statement with them, you know about their income and expenses and their assets and their liabilities. I think, as well as the financial needs analysis, this is a slam dunk separate from just getting a loan. Winston asked a good question because he's out developing clients across the country. Any of you that are not life insurance licensed, let me clarify. In almost every state, it is super simple to get what's called a non-resident license. So it takes some effort. You got to pass a test to get licensed in your resident state, your main state. But it's usually a very small fee and just an application. And usually within 24 to 72 hours, you can get a non-resident license in other states. So my point to you, Winston, is if you got an agent that's anxious to write business and you're willing to give them your key person policies to write, I can't imagine any of that one person. You wouldn't have to get 50 people. I can't imagine that one person wouldn't say, okay, I'll get a non-resident license in other states upon need. So I don't think that'll be a problem. It's a good question, but it's super simple. Okay, so we're going to move on because we're trying to do a consolidated training today. 2 more items. Section 12.1, subparagraph F. This is where it talks about, we want white label partners that are successful, that are engaged. And I think it's like anything. If you're not active in doing something, it's very hard to stay proficient. I'm a basketball fan. You may not be, but let's take Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors. He suffered 2 unfortunate injuries. He's been out for 2 years. He hasn't played in an NBA game in approximately 2 years. He's medically cleared, but the Golden State Warriors won't let him play yet because he's not conditioned, because it's been so long since he did those things in a game environment. Well, it's true for selling insurance or doing taxes or doing what we do. If you're not actively involved with something, you probably won't be very good at it. And that's why we clarified up front, we don't want dabblers as white label partners. We want people that are actively involved. Can you do it part-time? Of course, it's a great part-time side gig. But what we ask for is, we all commonly call it 8 a month, which is technically the way we measure it, but there's at least 4 weeks in each month. And so this is where that came from. So there shouldn't be any surprise there. And then Schedule A is pretty straightforward, and we don't have a whole lot of confusion on that. But what we've agreed to do is a 50-50 revenue split of the deposits and performance fees. As a white label partner, you get to pick the terms and the pricing that you want to charge your clients. We've agreed to a 50-50 with a minimum of $1,250 on the deposit. So what does that mean? So normally, our white label partners charge $2,500 for the deposit, whether they make it refundable or not, split 50-50, $1,250 to each of us. Crystal clear. But let's say that you decided to only charge the client $2,000. So then would it be a 50-50 split? No, technically not, because it's set to be a 50-50 split, but there is a minimum because we assume that everyone would do $2,500. So if you only charge the client $2,000 for the deposit, which of course they pay after their first round of capital, they don't pay that out of pocket, but then it's not a 50-50 split. So, there's a minimum on the deposit and a minimum on the performance fee. None of this is new information. None of this is fine print. This is all very, in my mind, very clearly stated in the white label partner agreement. Let me make it a little smaller. I just wanted to cover this. So obviously, a wise person doesn't sign an agreement without reading it. And I'm sure, I assume all of you read, so this is a waste of your time, which again, I apologize, but it's good to I guess, have a refresher what we're expecting of the white label partner. Because again, this one lady I'm referring to, she's a smart woman, but again, she just insists, I don't have time. I'm not going to do this. It's like, well, this is the deal, right? That's why we came up with a white label partner model. Let's do a 50-50 split, but we've got to share some of the work. In her mind, she wants a 50-50 split. She didn't want to do any of the work. And so you can see that that's not what was intended in the agreement. And then in terms of volume, we can work with you to set up landing pages. There's all different types of leads. We have daily training supports. We can visit one-on-one. There's just no reason, no earthly reason that an active white label partner couldn't help a client a day, 20, just working weekdays, 20 a month. But the threshold of at least 2 a week or 8 a month, it's just, if we're not hitting that, let's visit and figure out where the breakdown is, because we don't want white label partners to fail, but we do want white label partners to do what they promise to do. And then similarly, if you feel that we're not doing what we're supposed to do, what we promise to do in the white label license agreement, you've got to let us know, because we want to do right. We want to meet your expectations. And so let us know if there's something that we're not doing, but we are asking each of you to do those things that you promised to do, including these 3 areas. All right, so let's wrap it up with a few questions. David asked, what's the average cost for a key person policy? It is all across the board, because David, the insurance agent is going to work with the client to do a suitability analysis based upon their personal financial statement and their financial needs analysis. I can tell you, David, a lot of people aren't like you, and well, like probably all of you, a lot of people aren't saving for retirement. So that insurance agent may use more of a hybrid or an advanced policy that not only protects assets, but has a growth component. So it varies tremendously what the cost of a key person policy is, but you don't determine that. I don't determine that. That's between the client and the insurance agent figuring out what the needs are for the client. It can be very inexpensive. It can be very expensive. It just depends upon the design. Good question. Winston asked about, are most clients paying online versus check? Well, that's a good point. I have to admit ignorance. I don't know, because each white label partner collects the revenue from their clients. And I'm not really that involved, Winston, to know how each of you are collecting money from your clients, because we're not involved with that transaction. So I couldn't tell you. What I recommend, though, I'll tell you that, is I would recommend getting set up with QuickBooks. And with QuickBooks, you can use their invoicing, and then it can automatically link, and you can have clients pay you a number of ways, ACH, credit cards, or what have you. That's what I'd recommend. It's easy. The record keeping is excellent and such, but it's really up to you, Winston. And I honestly don't know how all the white label partners are invoicing their clients. And Augustus mentions, yeah, and I understand that there can be a bit of a buildup, and that's why we have a 1 month grace period. If you don't have a landing page, you don't have to have a landing page, but I would encourage you to visit with Scott Stroud, Scott at smartmoneyalliance.org, our Chief Marketing Officer, talk about landing pages, and we need to create a plan. What I didn't mention here is on the white label page on the iimfl.org website, there's training videos. And so often I'll have white label partners that will admit they've not gone through that training, and maybe they've watched some or skimmed. And I think that's a real disadvantage. I think the information to help you be successful is there. And then we can supplement it with coaching, mentoring, support, whatever you want to call it. But if a white label partner doesn't take the time to go through that training, that's a real disadvantage. I don't think they'll do as good of a job or be as successful. Tawana mentioned she got an invoice. Yeah, so the compliance department went through, and if there's a mistake, let us know, but went through November, because we closed out November, and anyone that appeared to not be in compliance, especially with production, but in general, they got an invoice to say, hey, you're out of compliance. Let's get on track. We don't want anybody to pay the invoice. All we want to do is succeed together. And so if you got an invoice, essentially it's a plea to, hey, let's get compliant. Let's get on track. And I don't know in your case if you received it because there was an issue with mentoring. Probably not with you, Tawana. It might have been that the system didn't show that you had at least 8 enrolled clients in the month of November. Easy fix. Let's hit 8 at least in the month of December. This is a great month. We're in a stellar month. We can help you hit those numbers. So if you received an invoice, feel free to reach out to us individually, and we can review where the system thinks that you're not being compliant, but most likely it was triggered from Section 12F. But again, no worries. We don't want you to pay the invoice. We just want you to get compliant. We had some people that came back and said, well, why did I get an invoice? I'm not a white label partner. And we go back and we can tell them the day, the time, the IP address, the web browser they were using. It's like, no, you did sign up. And we have these daily trainings, and we've been trying to support you. So some people are a little off. I don't know if it's somewhere between ignorance or illiteracy, but we're in this together. We want to succeed together, and we'll do everything we can, but we do need you to do your part. Now, we did have one client, Tawana, maybe this is an issue with you. We had one white label partner. He got an invoice and he said, hell no, I enrolled 28 people last month. And we did a search and it's like, you enrolled none. Well, he's using a landing page that Scott developed, but the landing page is used on the front end. As a white label partner, you still need to go in and submit those clients on the white label client submission form on the white label page at IIMFL. I don't know if that's an issue with you, Twan, or not, but he enrolled 28 last month, but he didn't submit any of them to us. So none of them have been implemented. We're fixing that, of course. And then of course that updates the record. So if you think you have 17, we just need to check that. And maybe you did, and maybe the system made an error, or maybe you enrolled them on your end, but you never submitted them. I don't know in your case, but we can check. Okay. All right. So with that, I've got to run. We will not have a session tomorrow. I'm going to be out of the office most of today and all of tomorrow, and we will regroup on Monday. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.